All right, I have one more post for today. It'll be the last one. I know I've been off work today, so that's the reason why you see more than two. I normally only do two. Um, do you know who they raided in Omaha? What kind of facilities they raided to round up all these brown people? Food packing plants, meat packing, processing facilities, food preparation facilities. It was all food preparation that go to our grocery stores. So let me just say to you, you better prep because it's going to take a while for these facilities to get back up and running when all of their workers have been taken away. Do you know that Nebraska and Iowa have the largest food packing facilities? And they just rounded up all their workers. So, yeah, food shortages are on the way because of lack of workers.
I hear the farmers in Nebraska are losing their economy because the workers won't show up or are being deported. I think it's a great opportunity for the farmers in Nebraska and the Nebraskan people to get off their ass and start going to work. There's plenty of jobs available now.
All right, Nebraska, this one's for you. See, what you did was, you voted for a man on lies. Now, that same man, we already know, he don't like to pay for his bills. They told you that over and over. You got cities that he still owe money to. You got places that have shut him down because of the way that he didn't pay his bill. There's places that he can't go back to because of the way he didn't pay his bills. And when you signed that piece of paperwork, that contract with Joe Biden, he was a man of his word. But then you elected 70% of you farmers, elected to put the man in who does not keep his word instead of actually dealing with half of the administration that was running, again, who not only gave you those contracts, but are known to keep their word. So while you were out voting against the people who work for you that are undocumented, that you feel are living off the government and getting welfare, you too found out that you were part of the welfare queen section, because if it wasn't for the federal government bailing you out and giving you extra stuff to improve what you have, because you must have forgot the federal government was making money off of you. USAID, yeah, you made some money off of it, but the government did too. So righteously, they're just giving you a piece of what you have already contributed to the country. Again, you found out you were just as much of a welfare queen as the undocumented people that you had working for you. Now that they're not coming to work and the work's not being done, and some of you got loans out there that need to be paid. How about this? How about you do like your mans, and go pay the bill. See what happens. Well, that's what you asked for. So what do you want us to do about it? There's nothing we can do about it. Good luck.
So a lot of farmers in Nebraska voted against undocumented immigrants, forgetting the fact that most of their workforce are undocumented. And before now, it was just us seeing videos of farmers complaining about people not picking their fruits and all of that. Until recently, when ICE raided a particular meat processing farm, so now they picked up like 50% or 60% of their workforce, and all of these people are undocumented. So it's spreading across, and Nebraska is just finding out that they voted against their interests because their major occupation in Nebraska is farming, right? Well, I'm just going to let some of the videos I've gathered for you guys roll, then I'll come back with my commentary. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up so that more and more people can see it. And credit to all creators on this video. So let's go watch, then I'll come back with a commentary.
So for those of y'all who've been keeping up with recent events as it relates to the farmers, right? We talked about Nebraska, and then we talked about Iowa, and all of these farmers, are losing their minds because they're losing their farms, and, they're scared. Well, let me tell y'all what I heard today. So the lobbyist groups for the farmers are proposing another bailout of $16 billion. The last time Syphilitic Sid did this in his first administration, they received a whopping $24 billion in bailouts. Well, this time around, Syphilitic Sid said he doesn't know if he can do that. He's not sure that that's something that they can accommodate. Look, I love the farmers. The farmers are wonderful. They farm, right? They farm. But, we're trying to cut fraud and waste and a lot of unnecessary spending. So now these people and their lobbyists are trying to get bailouts. But what I want to understand is, what happened to you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps? What happened to we voted for him because he's a great businessman? What happened to we're going to put our trust in him because he's going to help us? Help y'all do what exactly? Lose your farms? Yes, that part. Because you know who invests in these companies that buy up bankrupted farms? your vice president. Mm-hmm. So, to all you farmers that voted for this, thinking it was going to be like the last time and he was going to give y'all a bailout and y'all would get those subsidies to support yourselves and your farms and your families, it's not coming. Not this time around. It's not coming. You can just forget it. So, I wish you well. I hope it works out for you. Maybe, somebody can whisper in his ear and change his mind. You might want to reach out to Ivanka because she's his favorite and he listens to her, I guess. But they're not really speaking, ever since the insurrection. But I don't know. This is just word on the street. It's just gossip. But you didn't hear it from me. But, good luck.
So, y'all be seeing the people on TikTok recently. It's like, what about the people in Nebraska? Where are y'all? Do y'all not care about what's happening to us and our families and our 300-year-old farms? I mean, we see it or whatever, but we seen this too. We seen this too. We seen this too. Y'all remember when that white dude was getting arrested in I think it was Atlanta airport, and he was like, "You're treating me like a black person." Y'all remember that? I think that is what is happening in these United States of America. I think that everybody is starting to find out that racism is expensive. You should vote your pay grade, and that everybody is niggas.
I have a question for the Nebraska farmers, and this is a serious question. So if anybody that reaches this and is a Nebraska farmer or knows a Nebraska farmer, I'm hoping that you can help me with this. So when you all went to the polls, and what was it, 60% of Nebraska voted for Trump? 60% voted for Trump, even though his campaign was primarily about deporting illegals. And you knew that your farms and your crops were picked by illegals. What did you think was going to happen? Genuine question. What did you think was going to happen? I'm curious. What did you think was going to happen? Because if you have so many people working your farm and you know that you don't have the proper documentation, did you think that they was going to stick around? I guess this is where my curiosity comes in. What did you think was going to happen? Because the math isn't mathing for me. I'm just saying, the math is not mathing for me. Help me out. Help me understand. What was the game plan? Because it seems like what y'all thought was going to happen was, I don't know, y'all was going to get some prisoners to work the fields. Y'all was going to get, I don't know, us to work the fields. Y'all, who did y'all think was going to get to do it? What did y'all think was going to happen? And then, from what I understand, they've also frozen your funds. So I'm just curious, what did y'all think was going to happen? How did y'all think that was going to go when, again, he ran his entire platform on getting rid of illegals? All of them. What y'all think was going to happen? Tell me out.
Imagine I speaking 60% of your workforce. How many of your workforce will be left? Imagine operating on just 15% because others were scared. The other people have been picked. You don't have anybody that will come to the farm to do all of those works, right? I think by now there are plenty jobs for those people who keep complaining about how immigrants are taking away their jobs. I think the farms are now open for them. So many jobs are available for them to go take up instead of them sitting down and complaining how immigrants have been taking away their jobs and all that. All those people who voted for this, for mass deportation, for close of border, for all of those things that they were all crying about and how immigrants were taking over all their jobs, I think this is the best time for them to take up those jobs. Instead of these farms instead of them to keep employing illegal or undocumented migrants, they should focus on employing people who are legal in the country, right? And these palm-colored people should pick up these jobs instead of, allowing this job to just waste and these people stay without having workers in their farms. And this one of the reasons why is as if they're picking undocumented, like they are working more with undocumented immigrants, because these are the people who are available for the jobs, unlike the MAGA folks who may not really love to work in such places, right? But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments.
ICE raided a meatpacking plant in Omaha, Nebraska last week, and in one go took 70 of their employees. The next day, they were operating at 15% of their usual output because they were left with a skeleton crew. And they're not the only business that this has happened to. The hospitality industry is getting hit really hard. Any hotels, restaurants that have undocumented employees could be left unable to operate if their entire staff gets taken in a raid. So some of these people are complaining, and Trump heard about it because, a lot of these people, I'm assuming, especially the ones in places like Omaha, voted for him. So at the end of last week, they announced that they were going to put a pause on raids at places like food packing plants and hospitality industry businesses to, stop these businesses from closing their doors. But then today, well, would you look at that? Changed his mind, of course, because he's a puppet. Basically, he flip-flops based on whoever's in his ear at that very moment. So last week, he probably had some big shot from a big meatpacking company telling him, hey, you're hurting my business. So he's like, oh, okay, we'll stop doing that. Now he has his hardliners on his side that insist that we need to keep rounding up people that are working at meatpacking plants. What a danger to all of us they are, and sending them back to where they came from. So I would love to know what these people who run these businesses, who voted for him, are thinking. I'm looking at it like you fucked around and found out, but unfortunately we're all going to find out when it affects all of us. As someone who was born and raised in Nebraska and who works in public policy, nonprofit sector in Nebraska, I can provide a little bit of context as to what's going on with the state, with the budget, why everybody's freaking out. So in our state constitution, there's a provision that says you cannot go into a deficit. You have to have a balanced budget. That has never really been a problem. We've always had a budget surplus. Even 3 to 4 years ago, we had a budget surplus of like $1 billion. And now, under Pillen, we have completely blown through all that extra money, and there's a $432 million deficit of the budget. The other issue that's happening in Nebraska right now, well, there's two really, is we've essentially run the migrant workforce out of the state. It's a red state. We've had ICE raids in Nebraska before at meatpacking plants, farms, etc. It's nothing really new to the state. But the other factor that's going into that with the lost revenue is that property taxes are outrageous. Nebraska is one of the highest tax states in the country. I just recently left and went to a blue state. I thought for sure taxes were going to be worse. I'm actually taking home more money now than I was in Nebraska. So that's another thing. People have promised tax relief. We've robbed Peter to pay Paul, and now it's time to pay the bill, and there's no money left. So this legislature session might be really long. There's going to be a lot of cuts. I'm not sure what will happen. But if you want to stay up to date on what's happening in Nebraska, I highly suggest the Nebraska Examiner or the Flatwater Free Press.
I've seen videos of people complaining about how this is not what they voted for. They actually voted for criminals to be removed from the country and not hardworking people, because now it's affecting them directly. Most of these people voted for lots of mass deportation. Who did they think was going to be deported in the first place? They keep telling you he ran his entire campaign talking about how he's going to be deporting illegal migrants, undocumented immigrants, and so people, and how a lot of people are taking American jobs. Like, you guys had an open test exam, but open book exam, yet you failed the exam woefully because you decided to vote against your own interest. Now it has come biting. You are not feeling so bad. Some of you are complaining how people did not tell you that this is exactly how it's going to happen. Meanwhile, everybody was out there telling you exactly what was going to happen. Deportations were going to happen, and your farm might be affected majorly. A lot of you are now making videos and saying how you didn't know it was going to happen so soon. Sometimes I wonder what so soon really means for these farmers. Like, what do you mean that you didn't know it was going to affect you so soon? So you knew it was going to affect you, but you didn't want it to happen so soon. And some of you are complaining how you didn't know it was going to really affect you or come close to you. Guy, you voted for this. You wanted mass deportation. And most of these undocumented people work in the farm and not elsewhere. They work in hospitality. They work in farms. And no wonder he's also planning, to find a way to help all these farmers and these people, for them to stop deporting farmers, farm workers, and people who work in restaurants. Are going to help them out, find a way to accommodate them. I don't know how that is going to happen, They will find a way if they decide to find a way. But they promise deportation, guys. They promise to deport people. And while everybody's wailing on the internet, oh, my family members are getting deported, this and that, and most of these people who are crying on the internet are actually MAGAs who voted for this, okay? And now they're not coming out to really cry. Farmers, MAGA farmers, a lot of Nebraska farmers voted for mass deportation, forgetting that their workforce is built, the entire workforce is built by these undocumented immigrants. Well, I'm just going to end these videos here, but I would like to hear your thoughts, guys, in the comments. Let's have that conversation. Please go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button to be part of the family, okay? Subscribe and do give the video a thumbs up so that more people can see it. I look forward to seeing you all on my next video. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Bye, guys.